what would you
Yes.
do in this situation? Because I was just talking
Mhm.
to a great advisor yesterday. But before that, and this is actually what spurred our conversation originally, is I had an advisor I was talking to. He had a guy, and guy was like ultra high net worth. Like I think he had like $30 million, something like that. And ultra high net worth in my world, I guess those definitions change. But he so we were talking about what to quote for the plan because we weren't sure we were going to get the assets. He was trying to win over the investment account, but he could do a plan today that he
Mhm.
knows the guy would pay for, but he wasn't sure he could get the assets ever. And it's what do you quote? And so we talked about it, and his take, talking to his peers, was if you don't quote at least 5 grand plus, then the guy with 30 million doesn't really take you seriously because he's probably paying his accountant, 10 grand
Right.
or 5 grand to be, a business owner. Who knows?
Yep.
Maybe more if he's a business owner or has a bunch of, 1099s or something. He probably pays, his landscaper. Oh, I'm sure he pays his landscaper more
Right.
than that. So
Right.
it's like there's a certain amount where, the reality is people do equate price with value, right or
Right.
wrong. They do. And so you need to quote high enough. And so me and him were joking because, I can't relate to that. I got a quote for doing my lawn the other day just for like seeding and putting grub killer and stuff like that. And I'm reading like the fine print on $1,000, invoice
Mhm.
because that's meaningful money to me. But if you've
Mhm.
got, 25, $30 million, again, like you're not even going to take it seriously unless it's a certain amount. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious kind of your thoughts on that. But you said the most you've charged is 4 grand, but that's just to the advisor, right?
Correct. Yep.
So they'll pass on more than that though?
Way more. Yeah. Yeah. So, I think I picked up on 2 questions and 2 points I want to share. So
Kind of just
I
rambling.
find no, that's okay. That's how ideas come out. So like I see that as an objection, right? I argued with someone on LinkedIn about he was a contractor, like a general manager for contract work, like for construction. He's like, well, when I worked, I needed to see an itemized list of the inputs and I wanted to know what labor costs were and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, as a builder, you're not really providing an outcome. You're providing a building. It's a real asset. It's a completely different value proposition. One, two, you looked at the value of the union labor that you were using. The union set that rate and they're paying their guys 50 an hour and they're charging you 75. Like by nature, you are making an assessment, just a value assessment on that labor. You know what I mean? Like in other words, what's the difference between 75 an hour and 150 an hour? Like at what
Right.
point would you go, that's too expensive for that labor? And what would you use to judge that labor as being valuable or not?
Right.
So
The
like,
hourly stuff kills me too. Like, what do you mean you spent 5 hours because you didn't check Instagram during that time, you didn't respond to
right,
email, like,
right,
we don't exactly
right,
clock
right.
in, so
Yep. And
it's
that's why
it's always funny.
I refuse to charge hourly now for planning. I did to start because advisors were comfortable with it. Um, but again, I want to charge for an outcome. I don't want to charge for my labor. And if the outcome you're seeking from me is just a really kick-ass plan that you have margin on, well, that shouldn't depend on how long it takes me to build the plan. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, I know I got derailed there, but to answer your
Oh, no.
question about like how would you charge that $30 million client that's not going to roll their assets over, I would get real about the value you're providing and the value the client is seeking from your advice. So whether
Yeah.
you're managing the assets or not, I would charge them as if you are. Um, so if you're like a guy that provides all the value on the investment side, sure, yeah, there's probably not much room for you to charge on the planning side. And then I would argue, why are you even providing planning? Just move on. Um, if you do provide value on the planning side, then price it accordingly and say, this is what it
Mm.
costs to work with us. It's not for a one-time financial plan. At a minimum, it's for an annual engagement. This is what you're going to pay me every year because I provide this value on an annual basis. Here's the value of working with me full time. And then the assets will come.